Welcome, baseball fans, and we're glad you've joined us for another episode of Diamond Kings, the YouTube baseball talk show. We're brought to you by the Sports-Kings.com Media Network. I'm your host, David Whitlock from Houston, Texas. Yes, the Houston Astros are still in first place, but the Rangers are nipping at their heels thanks to Josh Hamilton, so we'll talk some about that. The Minnesota Twins continue to surprise. Everybody picked them in last place, but look, they're right there near the top of the AL Central standings, so we'll talk to Twins a little bit. And we'll talk about the All-Star voting. The All-Star voting started. The first results are released. This is the first year it's been exclusively online. We'll get everybody's thoughts on that and the picks so far. I'll run down the picks when we get to that segment. Then we'll also maybe talk about some injury reports. We've had some people coming back from injuries, some people going down to injuries. So joining me today is some of the usual suspects, starting from Dallas, Texas, Leroy McConnell III. How are you, Leroy?
We have sun in Dallas, Texas, finally. 24 out of 26 days of rain, flooding. Now the sun is out. I'm enjoying it.
And it's bound to be about 95 degrees, too, but you'll take it. We'll take it down here in Houston, too. We had some flooding, but we're okay. And joining us all the way from Florence, South Carolina is Michael Prosser. It's been a couple weeks. How are you, Michael?
It is like a homecoming. It is just beautiful to be back here. I've missed you guys so much. No, you guys saved me earlier from the horrible Keith Olbermann show. I still don't know how that gentleman got a show anywhere on television. You're awful, Keith. Shut up.
You got pictures of somebody.
I cannot disagree with that. We might get another guest joining us a little bit later, Caleb Lukatic from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He's a new writer for our blog. He's promised to try to join us. He's coming home now. So if you see another guy pop on, that's who it is. Before we jump into the baseball talk, I want to give a shout-out to one of our biggest Twitter followers. That is Serena, also known as @16Turpin. She's a delightful young lady to talk to, loves baseball, loves talking, being positive, and we encourage that at our blog. So hi, Serena. We're glad you're joining us for another week of Diamond Kings. Spread the word, and we'll see you sometime at a baseball stadium. Now let's get on to the baseball talk, and one of the stories, we've talked about it in the weeks past, has been Josh Hamilton. Of course, he's with the Angels, had his little drug relapse. The Angels pretty much just gave him away to the rival Texas Rangers. Well, he started back last Monday on Memorial Day playing, and he's been tearing it up a little bit. His batting average isn't there, but he had 2 home runs on Friday night with the win, and then the big Sunday night walk-off pinch hit double, shocking everybody. He looks right at home with the Rangers. The Rangers are on a hot streak. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They're all of a sudden nipping at the Astros' heels. So we'll start with Leroy. What's the word with Josh Hamilton in Dallas and for the Rangers? I mean, this must be one of the biggest positive stories going around up there. Did we lose Leroy?
Senor McConnell.
All right, we'll go to Michael first. Leroy looks like he's still here, but he dropped a little bit. But what do you think, Michael, of Rangers and Hamilton?
You know what? This is something that I've been repeating for the last, it seems like, month since we've been talking about this whole thing. Good for you, Josh Hamilton. You are back where you belong. You have finally been, reintroduced to a clubhouse that welcomed you so wholeheartedly when you went to Arlington. And now you're back. And look what happens. You look like your old self again. Low batting average, home runs aplenty, and clutch hitting. That was pretty much Josh Hamilton in a nutshell. You go being one of the biggest, potentially one of the biggest busts in Major League Baseball history in a fledgling Tampa Bay system at the time, to being a perennial power in the middle of the lineup in the AL, to possibly one of the worst contract signings in Major League Baseball history. But yet again, you come full circle back to Arlington, where you belong. Don't leave. I mean, this is the shot in the arm that this team was looking for. I mean, it was just what? Month and a half ago, they were bottom feeders. We were talking about them, who are they going to trade this time? Could it be Elvis Andrus? Is it time to give Jurickson Profar, a little bit more time, to play? And now all of a sudden we're going, could the Rangers make the playoffs? Hey, it's totally possible if they stay healthy enough. Prince Fielder's finally slugging the ball like he should be, coming back from that injury last year. And don't count him out, people. Don't do it.
Yeah, the surprising thing, of course, it's frustrating to watch. I mean, it's got to be frustrating for Angels fans because they signed him to all this money. They're still paying most of his salary, and then here he is raking it for the rival team. Leroy, you dropped off right when I called on you last time. We're still talking about Josh Hamilton. What do you think's going on with him?
Well, like I told you last time, we talked about Josh Hamilton. He has to have a great support group. One, he is finally healthy. That's important. He's got the right frame of mind, and he's motivated. With motivation, and he's at home. He's still at home. Texas fans brought him back gracefully, cheered when he came back. It's a feel-good story for him right now. This is the most comfortable spot for him. He did not have that in Anaheim. They wanted him to be responsible for himself, which, he should, but he's a different breed. He's not Mike Trout. He's not Albert Pujols. He's Josh Hamilton. He knew he had demons prior to signing him. We knew he had demons. That's why we had so many different restrictions on him. But, he is humble now. He's glad to be back. He's comfortable, and that's why he's able to do what he does. Yeah, it might be a slap in the face right now for the Angel fan, but like I said, he never was comfortable, and that's probably the reason why he failed out there in L.A.
Yeah, he never did seem comfortable. I mean, it seemed like the organization supported him. I mean, Albert Pujols is a positive guy, but it just wasn't a good fit. Maybe it made it be a lesson to other free agents that think the grass is greener somewhere else. Oh, I can go to a bigger contract. Oh, I can get more money and play for a winner. I mean, the Rangers have been winners with him, so if you look at their performance, he could have come back there and done just as well. He looks really comfortable now. I kind of liken it to a little bit of what happened with Lance Berkman here in Houston, where he was loved here, but frankly, he got a little bit out of shape. He seemed a little disinterested. The team was going down. So then, next thing you know, he's playing for the Rangers and then the Cardinals, and he's tearing it up. He's back to an all-star again. And it's like, man, why couldn't you do this for us, But sometimes it just takes that jolt. I think he had that jolt. Hamilton had that jolt in the offseason of, hey, things didn't go well apparently with his marriage, and he had the little relapse. And he's like, I'm going to get my act together. Texas is the place to do it. And it's showing, and it's exciting to watch. His teammates are excited for him. And like Michael said, it's great that he's turned. The best thing is it looks like he's turned his life around and got the things going again.
Heck, he's only 34 years old, too, so it's not like he's washed up. He's got a lot of baseball. You just have to be in the right frame of mind.
Yeah. And so good for him. Another good for team that's going around right now is the Minnesota Twins. If you look at the American League Central standings, everybody expected the Royals to be there. Everybody expected the Tigers to be there. Not many people expected the Minnesota Twins, and as we go to the press here, half a game up on those Royals. What is going on in Minnesota? Can they keep this up? Is this going to be a worst to first situation like the Braves way back when? We'll start with Michael again. Give me your breakdown of the Twins.
2 words: Paul Molitor, a genius. This is something that I didn't really see coming, because usually when you get a player, especially somebody as legendary as Paul Molitor was, and for those of you who don't know, Paul Molitor is a legend. You just don't know it. Go look this guy up on YouTube. If this guy didn't get a hit, it was going to snow in July. The guy hit everything, including Tawny Katane. No, wait, that was Chuck Knobloch. My bad. Wrong, right church, wrong pew, right? Anyways, I digress. No, this is bringing the Twins back to fundamental baseball. Bat on ball. Bat on ball. Keep your eye on said ball. Bat on ball. It's great. It's fun to watch. Brian Dozier is a name, fantasy people, you might know him because he's like the only second baseman in the entire league that'll get you 20 home runs. He's the J.J. Hardy of second base. He's what Dan Uggla used to be and what Dan Uggla still wishes he could be. But let's face it, I had to mention Dan Uggla somehow, just for the heck of it. I hope they keep this up. It's going to be difficult, though, because Ricky Nolasco is possibly going on the DL, rolled something with his ankle. He's 5-1 this season. When was the last time we heard a Ricky Nolasco and 5-1 in the same season? I think he was back in L.A. But I'm just excited about this. They're doing it like it's 1991. I don't need to remind you guys what happened back in 1991, especially both of you gentlemen. I was only a year old, but I know exactly what happened because it's history. And it's a disgusting history. 1-0 in Game 7, probably the greatest pitcher's duel of all time, and I wish that I didn't have to see it on ESPN Classic, but that's how I did. But it was just an amazing game to watch, and it still hurts 24 years later. Rest in peace, Kirby Puckett. Yeah. I know he's smiling down on you on this one. I mean, this is just great. This is just great. Good for the city of Minnesota because, let's face it, the Vikings suck, the Timberwolves suck, and the Wild got bounced in the playoffs, and they choked. So, I mean, it's nice for the city of Minneapolis, for the Twin Cities, to finally have something to cheer for.
And it is good, and it is good for baseball. Paulo Molitor, he's been a favorite of mine for several years from his playing days. I do remember. I don't have to look him up on YouTube. I remember when he played. But Leroy, how do you break down the Twins? Is this a team that's going to hang for the long term, or are they just a flash in the pan?
Well, I can recall I think it might have been last Sunday, I was looking at the sports section, and I always look at the AL Central. And I saw the Minnesota Twins above the Royals. Like, that's not right. I was cleaning my eyes out. So maybe I had some cold in my eyes or something. And it was still there. And I was saying to myself, when did this happen? I guess at the time they had won 4 or 5 or 6 games in a row. And I know the Royals have been playing 500 ball lately since they had left New York. They've been struggling. Detroit has been struggling. It's very impressive what Minnesota is doing. 20-game win in the month of May. Impressive. Last time they did
First
that
time since 1991.
Exactly. Paul Molitor, he was on that team. The team has taken his personality. You got Brian Dozier leading the team, second base, as you said, and home runs 9. You have Plouffe. You got 8 home runs. Someone like Joe Mauer only has 1 home run. You got an old man, Torrey Hunter, out there playing good D. He's got 7 or 8 home runs. You know, the Minnesota Twins back then, they didn't really have any sexy names. I mean, Kirby Puckett, but he's still a blue-collar worker. Will they be there? They have a possibility. You know, they go out there, they play ball, and they snuck up on us back in 91. They snuck on us in 87. And they look like they're gonna sneak up on us here in 15. I don't see I don't see them going anywhere. I think they showed the Royals that this is the last year. They have won, and they stuck. I thought that when we played the Twins, it would be an easy victory. We can write it out a W. They're here to stay. Only thing concerns me is, you know, they're starting pitchers. They don't strike anybody out. They're going off of defense. Pretty soon, if you don't get any strikeouts, some of them balls going to get through, and pitchers might start getting up some runs. But right now, it's a feel-good story. They're playing solid defense. They're getting timely hitting. I'm not going to run them up. I think it might be a 3, and you never know. Cleveland might sneak up. This is the most competitive league in baseball, so it might be a dogfight to the end. Who knows?
Yeah, I could see it going for a while. I don't think the Royals are going to go away, but you've got the Tigers right now on a pretty big losing streak. They got beat up pretty bad by the Angels, which
Swept.
Two of the teams that were there towards the end of the, of course, in the postseason last year. I can't see the Twins staying. I'm looking up and down that roster, the pitching, the hitting. Hey, it's great they're doing well now. I know Torrey Hunter can hit, but let's face it, he's getting up there in age, so I think they'll drop off eventually. I hope they hang on. I hope they make it a really interesting race, but just not sure. Just can't buy on yet. But we'll come back in a couple weeks and see how that turns out. So let's do our weekly injury roundup. We've had a couple key injuries. Steven Strasburg went down with a neck injury. We've also got Justin Verlander for the Tigers trying to come back. A couple other pitchers, Sean Doolittle for the Oakland A's, who at least would be trade bait for a team. He pitched 1 game and went back down. So Again, we'll start with Michael. What do you think of the injury situation? What injuries are you watching that's going to shake up the pennant races?
Well, with the exception of probably Sean Doolittle's, the last three have really been key injuries. I mean, you look at Steven Strasburg, the guy has been heralded as the franchise with Bryce Harper, and he has looked anything but every other year. You look at Justin Verlander going out, just before the beginning of the season. He did his rehabs. He had a rehab start with I think it was like the Toledo Mud Hens or something, and was on an 85 pitch count and threw, I think it was like 70, 75 pitches in the first 2 innings. He says he didn't, have any problems. Pinpoint control will get there in time, he says. He said it was nice to be back during, an actual in a game situation instead of just, simulated areas. He's not worried about it. I don't know if I would agree with him, considering he's getting a little bit up there in age. And with his contract, who's really going to be able to, is Detroit going to be able to dump him for anything like that? Doolittle, like you were mentioning, is an interesting one because he could be potential trade bait with Oakland being in the cellar unexpectedly. But again, you never know. This is baseball. It's going to get hot here in Oakland very shortly, and I don't know, maybe some bats catch fire just as well. And, even with Ricky Nolasco, like we were saying earlier with the Twins, I mean, he's been an integral part of that pitching staff at a 5-1 record. He's kind of the ace, if you want to call it there. You lose that, I mean, we could certainly see the Twins fall off a little bit. But Strasburg's really the big one here, not only in name, but in, injury-wise, because it is, it's arm. And this is a team right now. Washington is in the thick of things. Last look, Atlanta was only about 4 back. The Mets are still, 2.5 back. It's not a runaway race there in the NL East anymore. It's a 3-team race right now, and if the Nationals want to separate themselves, they're going to need a healthy club. Anthony Rendon is still on the DL. He's potentially coming back within the next couple of weeks, so that'll be another bat in the lineup. But you've got Strasburg on the DL now. They're going to need all hands on deck to fight off the Mets and potentially the Braves, especially after what the Braves did out in San Francisco. Shout out to you, Jace Peterson, you beast, for that bases clearing triple.
Okay. Good points all around. A couple other injuries that just came to mind, particularly because we're going to talk to Leroy next, is Adrian Beltre went out for a couple weeks. He's got a thumb injury.
Yes.
And then for my Astros, Scott Feldman went on the disabled list unexpectedly. He's kind of the number 3 starter. And so, Leroy, can the Rangers make it without Beltre? What other injuries are you seeing around the league that got your attention?
Well, Beltre is a concern, especially when we've been rocking and rolling the last a few weeks. Put him on the 15-day disabled list today, and they're bringing up their prize winner, Joey Gallo. He's been the one in waiting. Brought him up this afternoon, so he'll get a 2-week audition if anything else. He's been smacking the ball pretty good down there in AA in Frisco, and bat like 313, that 9 home runs, 31 RBIs. So hopefully, the fans been waiting to see this guy. He will not be the replacement of Adrian Beltre today. When Adrian's ready to get back in the lineup, he will be getting his spot back. So only way he will stay up is if something else, another injury or anything. But we're waiting to see him, and we're looking forward to see what he can do. He does strike out a lot, but he does go for the long ball too. So as far as the pitchers, Strasburg, I'm kind of wondering, should Washington have known something was going on with him the last 5 or 6 starts, because he couldn't get himself out the 4th inning. I think he was averaging 17 outs a game, and that's not Strasburg. That should have probably been a concern prior to this last week or so. Don't they have isn't Feister gone as well for Washington?
I have to check that.
think the Fighters are going too. But it is, it's tremendous for them. They have fought. And they think about a couple weeks ago, Washington was like next to last place, and they've been playing good baseball despite the injuries. So, the big story is Strasburg, but in Beltray. I'm not too familiar with any other major pitchers right now, but that's all I got.
Yeah, no, good breakdown. It will be interesting to see how this Rangers hot streak. Seems like nothing can really slow them down because they're still without Yu Darvish. They lost their closer, Naftali Feliz, but they just next man up. They've been able.
Hey, we lost him with the World Series. We lost. He's never been the same since the St. Louis debacle.
Yeah, no.
But you know what? It's tremendous what they've done without Yu Darvish. And finally, like I said, I kind of wish they didn't start off so slow. Because, we might have been up there with Houston if we would at least play foul the ball at the beginning.
Yeah, it was teams in different directions, and now the league's only about 4 games between the Astros have fallen back to earth, even though they still have the most wins in the American League, because it seems like the Royals have dropped, the AL East is a big jumble. So nobody's running away with any division. I think everybody's
very competitive.
And then that's going to make it fun to watch. So the next topic is All-Star balloting, and we've had a couple ballots released, and the latest American League one was released today. So I'll run down and try to real quick think about your thoughts on the voting so far. And in the American League, it's all about the Royals. You've got at first base Cabrera, second base Altuve, and then it's Royals time. Third base Moustakas, shortstop Escobar, DH is Nelson Cruz, just barely over Kendrys Morales. Catcher Salvador Perez, and then outfielders you got Locane, Mike Trout, and Alex Gordon. So 2 Royals there. Alex Rios is 5th, so 3 of the top 5 outfielders are Royals. Every Royals are first or second in every category every category they're first or second, and 3 of their outfielders are the top 5. So who's missing here? Is this fair to put all the Royals there? We'll start with Leroy this time, just to mix it up.
Well, I'm trying to figure out who in the world is doing all this voting. Kansas City's a small market team. And who would have thought that, of all people, Lorenzo Cain will be outvoting Mike Trout? I mean, that's big time. And I think he's got him more than like 200,000 votes. So it ain't close. It ain't close. And if you want to look at second place, Hosmer is right behind Cabrera. He won't be Cabrera, but he's second in running. Infante's right behind Altuve, but watch out. We're not going to slum Altuve. But, this is exciting. Kansas City, there are people actually voting for the Royals. Royals have been the laughing stock for the last 20 years. And for 1 year, we are finally on top of the world. Now, the interesting thing is this, Alex Rodriguez. He won't get voted in, but he has more votes than any starter on the Boston Red Sox.
Interesting point. You brought up an interesting. First of all, the leading vote getter is, of course, Salvador Perez. Most votes of any player, because he's clearly the best, I guess, anywhere. And it was interesting, from the first week, Prince Fielder was not even in the top 5 of first basemen. And now he's up to number 3. He's only got half a million votes as compared to Cabrera that are over 2 million. So he's got a lot of making up to do. But it's definitely tilted towards the Royals. It's all online, so it's not about attendance. It's just a little bit surprising. So, Michael, your breakdown of the AL All-Star voting.
It's strange. Where did this come from? I mean, I'm with Leroy. I mean, Kansas City, it's a big city, but George Brett just hitting the vote button like 500,000 times. I mean, what's going on over there? I mean, this is coming from the same team that drew spring training when they were awful. I mean, I don't know what that says about Garth Brooks trying to play baseball, but I mean, you're that bad and you drop Garth Brooks, who you could use as like a great marketing chip, but now all of a sudden it's like, poof, hey, we're the Royals.
Hey, when you're a winner.
Vote for us. I mean, this is where did we just like step out of the Twilight Zone or something? Like,
It's
I'm waiting
1985
for
all over
the
again.
Twilight Zone music.
looking like
that
this.
chick to turn around from the TV and be like, "They're here." It's Poltergeist like 3 right now.
There is stuff going on that's strange. Texas is getting rain.
Yeah.
The Royals are getting votes. Hey.
Texas isn't getting rain. Texas is getting floods. It's raining in Texas, and I don't mean water droplets. Watch out. Evan Gattis just hit another. That's what happened. Evan Gattis started hitting home runs, and he opened up clouds, and that's why it's raining.
That makes the most sense of anything I've heard all day. So going over to the National League, looking at some of the voting, and this voting's a week old because they haven't released a new poll yet, but we've got Adrian Gonzalez at first, D. Gordon at second, Johnny Peralta at short, Matt Carpenter at third, Yadier Molina at catcher, and then your outfielders are Bryce Harper, Matt Holliday, and Giancarlo Stanton. I think most of those make sense. There's obviously a trend towards Cardinals. There always is. The Cardinals fans love to stuff the ballot. So since we lost Leroy, apparently, we'll go to Michael first. To the National League, what are you seeing here?
Where's Buster Posey? I mean, seriously. Aside from Buster Posey, and that's the only catcher I hear about all year and for good reason. But what does that really say about the catcher position in Major League Baseball right now? I mean, you've got Buster Posey, you've got Yadier Molina, you were supposed to have Devin Mesoraco, Travis D'Arnaud. There was supposed to be, like a list. But lately, it's been slowly but surely diminishing. Why isn't A.J. Pierzynski getting any love? Yes, I know he's 38 years old. Yes, I know he plays for the Braves. But the guy is hitting over 300 still. At 38, he's hitting over 300. Evan Gattis, who also plays catcher, can't even hit the Mendoza line. I'm not saying Pierzynski's going to get in. It'd be cool. I know he's not going to, but where's the consideration? But Buster Posey seriously needs to be number one. As much as I give respect to all Cardinals fans, and the state of Missouri is coming out incredibly strong for this. Is the All-Star game in Kansas City this year or something? I mean, like, what?
No.
Missouri, what are you thinking? Like, where did you come from?
Yeah, what's in the water?
It's like 1983 all over again.
Yeah. Hey, no, makes sense. So Leroy, National League breakdown. What do you think of the voting so far? Who's getting robbed? Who deserves it?
You know what? I don't even know who's leading. I don't even know. I'm just settle American
You dropped off there. It's Adrian Gonzalez at first, D. Gordon at second, Johnny Peralta at short, Matt Carpenter at third with Chris Bryant in second place at third base, Yadier Molina at catcher, and then Bryce Harper, Matt Holliday, and Giancarlo Stanton as your outfielders.
Well, Chris Bryant's going to take over. How far is he behind?
He's about 2-1, about $1 million to $500,000 behind Matt Carpenter.
I think he might catch him.
He might.
Chris Bryant is the sexy name.
That voting's a week old, so a new poll will be released tomorrow, and we'll see if he's.
He's going to be the starter because everybody, right. You know what? Because he has set up those first 2 weeks and there was a big cry. Hey, he's going to take over. You just watch. And heck, he might be deserving because he's going to get 100 RBIs this year. He's going to get. He's going to be the Roy of the year, Rookie of the Year. So, D. Gordon's having a good year.
Yep.
Yadier is living off his name, but he is the best defensive catcher in the game, and he is a Cardinal.
Right.
Tulu, he's quiet himself, so I don't mind Peralta bringing up that Peralta's having a good season. Also, who's leading besides Stanton in the outfield?
Bryce Harper and Matt Holliday.
Oh, shoot.
He's pretty good.
I don't have any objections of who's leading. I think National League has I think fans have been smart about what they're doing in the National League. In the American League, Kansas City's been smart about doing what they're doing. So.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting in the national back to the American League where for several years there, I mean, you could pretty much pencil in 8 of the 9 starters would be Red Sox or Yankees. I mean, you would just go be Red Sox, Yankee, Red Sox. Both those teams are trailing 4th, 5th. Like you said, Alex Rodriguez is about the highest guy. I don't know if maybe the fans don't they don't have the online voting. I'm not sure how to figure that out. Where state of Missouri, apparently they got banks set up for these people to come vote. Difficult to tell, but
George Brett and Mark McGuire just keep sitting at their computers all day hitting vote, 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 vote. That's it.
So, okay, we're going to wrap it up. Appreciate you guys joining us. And, I'll give you each one final thought on baseball at the moment. Start with Michael. Final thoughts.
I don't have one.
All right. Man of few words.
That's my final thought.
Anything from you, Leroy, before we wrap up? I think he's frozen. I think we'll call this a wrap. Appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll catch you next time on Diamond Kings.